Human beings are losing the ability to be alone with their own minds. And maybe that is one of the most important psychological shifts. Silence is becoming uncomfortable. Stillness feels unnatural. And the moment reality becomes emotionally quiet, people reach for stimulation. A screen, a notification, music, a video, a conversation, another thought, anything to avoid direct contact with themselves. At first, distraction feels harmless, entertainment, relaxation, escape after a long day. But over time, something deeper begins to happen. Distraction stops being occasional and becomes constant. And when stimulation becomes constant, the mind never truly rests, not because it is working, but because it is running. Modern life has created an environment where silence almost feels threatening. People wake up and immediately consume noise. Information, content, opinions, videos, messages, scrolling. Not necessarily because they enjoy it, but because emptiness has started to feel psychologically unbearable. And this is where the subject becomes uncomfortable. Because many forms of distraction are not actually about pleasure. They are about avoidance, avoidance of anxiety, avoidance of unresolved emotions, avoidance of uncertainty, avoidance of loneliness, avoidance of existential confrontation. The mind learns something dangerous. If I stay stimulated enough, maybe I won't have to feel what is underneath. And the modern world makes this incredibly easy. Infinite feeds, infinite entertainment, infinite stimulation, an endless stream of noise protecting people from silence. But silence is important. Because silence reveals things. It reveals exhaustion, confusion, sadness, fear, meaninglessness. And sometimes even the terrifying realization that a person no longer knows who they are without distraction. This is why many people can no longer simply sit alone in a room without immediately reaching for stimulation. The silence begins to expose what the noise was covering. And psychologically, this creates a strange paradox. People think distraction is helping them relax. While the nervous system never fully stops reacting, the brain becomes conditioned to constant novelty, constant interruption, constant emotional movement. And eventually, stillness itself starts feeling emotionally wrong, almost dangerous. But maybe the real danger is the opposite. Because a life filled with constant distraction creates distance from the self, distance from thought, distance from emotion, distance from reality. And over time, people stop listening to themselves completely. Not because they have nothing inside, but because the noise became louder. Philosophers spoke about this long before smartphones existed. Blaise Pascal once suggested many human problems come from the inability to sit quietly alone. And maybe he understood something profound. Silence removes escape routes. When the noise disappears, people meet themselves. And that meeting can be uncomfortable. Because beneath distraction, many people discover unresolved grief, fear, emptiness, confusion. So the stimulation continues, not always for pleasure, sometimes for survival. But maybe this is the tragedy of modern distraction. The more people avoid themselves, the more psychologically unfamiliar they become. And eventually a person can spend years consuming endless noise without ever truly hearing their own mind. Maybe that is why silence feels uncomfortable now, because silence is no longer empty, it is revealing. And perhaps the scariest thing about distraction is not that it steals attention, it is that it may slowly prevent people from meeting who they really are.